And welcome back, Community Focus, here on Channel 6 TV. Glad you could join us here in Nelson County. I'm Kenny Fogle, your host. We got with us Mr. Billy Bass here with us today, and Billy is the spokesperson for the Stephen Foster, Drama Association, Stephen Foster Story. That's had so many names over the years. Stephen Foster is the key to it right here.
Absolutely.
Billy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Kenny.
Well,
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you being here.
Anytime.
So, I know we talk about Stephen Foster, and one thing is I can talk to people about different projects and different things, and you can see when it hits a nerve. And I can see this is something that brings out a passion in you. When I mention Stephen Foster, all of a sudden you can just beam up.
It's true. It's one of those things where I didn't grow up in Bardstown. I didn't even grow up in Kentucky. I grew up outside Chicago, and we moved to Tennessee when I was in high school, and I went to Western Kentucky University. Yeah. And after I graduated with a BFA in Performing Arts, got a chance to come up here for the first time in 2009, work here for the summer, and found out all about Bardstown, all about the Stephen Foster story and my old Kentucky home, and what it means to the community here. And it's really just something that's built up in me over the past few years. I came back in 2012, and I've been here ever since. So,
before we get into that, you touched on it a little bit. Billy Bass, Chicago, Tennessee, it's a pretty good blend there.
Oh yeah.
But what gets you into? What motivated you to want to get into the acting world, the theater?
It was one of those things. As a kid, my father never, and my mother too, they never really pushed me to do anything in particular. They made me try a bunch of things, which I'm really thankful for. I loved baseball, played baseball for a long time. I tried football for about 3 days, and I said, that's not for me. I bowled, I did all kinds of crazy stuff, but I've always been someone who loves attention. I think we all do to a certain extent, but I'm happiest when I'm on stage, or when I'm out in front of people, or when I'm in a situation like this, when I can talk about something that I really like, and get out there and have fun. That's what's fun for me. And when I was in high school, they had something called a show choir, where we were kind of singing and dancing together, and that was my first introduction to the world of dancing. And I don't call myself a dancer by any means. I can say I can move and make it look good and not fall down. And that's as good as you can get from me. But when I got to college, I actually didn't intend on a theater degree right away. I said I'll go in to Western and work on my gen eds for a couple of years, and then kind of figure it out along the way. And when I got to orientation, somewhere I had written down that I wanted to do theater, and so I said, well, we'll try it for a year and see how I like it. And
I had a movie producer in here one time a year or so ago, and I asked him this question. I said, if you had somebody out there who's a striving actor, what would you tell them to do? And he says, you can't tell somebody how to act. He said, they either have it in them or they don't.
It's true.
He said, it's something you don't teach. He said, it's pretty much something that emanates from within you. So if you feel like you're an actor, act.
Yeah.
And he said, that's about all I can tell him. He sat there exactly was dumbfounded, because he said, you can't teach that. You can't teach acting.
It's true. You can teach people how to become better public speakers, and you can, learn how to use diction properly and things like that. But, if you don't have that, that desire or that passion or that fire to get out there and just be in front of all those people, it's something you either have it or you don't, like you said. That's true.
Okay, well, Stephen Foster Story. We'll get into. I know you got some other things going on too, but before we get into that, Stephen Foster Story is in 50-some years now.
58 years. It'll be the 58th anniversary this summer.
That's a long time. For anything less than long, somebody does something right.
Exactly. Well, we've been in such a great community for it. Obviously, we've got my old Kentucky home right there. We're on the state park grounds. But just, being close enough to Louisville, close enough to Lexington, right in the center of Kentucky. That's what I tell all my friends. Bowling Green's only an hour and a half away. It's the perfect place to live if you want to go anywhere in a short amount of time in Kentucky or elsewhere. But it's just truly something special with the show, with the costumes, with the music, with the actors. You have people who've done the show. This is my 6th season overall with the company, but we've got people in there for 10, 15, 20, 25, all the way up to Miss Cy Arnold, who's been the costume designer. This is her 52nd year in the show. And, got to be something there to keep these people coming back year after year. And it truly feels like a family. No matter what your job is, if you are an actor, if you pop popcorn, if you park cars, if you're the managing artistic director, as Johnny Warren is, it's just something that brings you closer together. We call it our Stephen Foster family. You hear people talk about the Foster family all the time. And it really is just kind of this, you spend so much time together in rehearsals and on stage and doing all the other productions and projects and things that you just really bond. And it's something special that I haven't found a lot of other places.
I know we talk about tourists coming to town, and it's a big tourist attraction, but there's a lot of people right here in the audience maybe never seen the Stephen Foster Story. What are they missing?
It's a true gem. First of all, the amphitheater, the J. Dan Talbot Amphitheater of my old Kentucky home. You're surrounded by a canopy of trees. When the sun sets usually right about at the end of Act 1. And so Act 2 is in darkness, so you're under the stars, you're outside. There's not a lot of places you can go these days where you can get that kind of feeling. And so that's already the uniqueness right there. But there's just something, and I hate to be cliche and say magical about it, but when you're sitting there watching the show, you almost get transported because the costumes, we talked about Cy Arnold earlier, the costumes that we have are just magnificent. They're beautiful, they're breathtaking. You get the little 6 and 7-year-olds out there who are just like Disney princesses, they're our Kentucky princesses. That's who we have. And then to top it all off, we have Stephen Foster's music. And, he was the first great composer.
I thought he's America's first rock star.
He was. He's the first rock star. He's the first pop artist. You can call him the first Justin Timberlake, the first Bruce Springsteen, whatever you want to say. He really he paved the road for these folks. There were no copyright laws. There were no managers or agents or anything. He made his own way and decided that he wanted to make a living. No one did that back in the 1800s. He was born in 1826 and he died at 37 years old. So he didn't go that far into the future to see how this was kind of going to morph into this massive industry that we know now. But the music that he wrote and that he left for us just is, everyone can connect to it in one form or fashion.
You hear it on everything. I don't care if people may not realize how much they hear Stephen Foster music on TV shows, movies, and things that older shows, but newer shows. I mean, it's built into the background, and you don't even think about it.
Absolutely. All of his music is in the public domain, which has been really helpful for his legacy to kind of be sustained. And that's part of our mission, is to sustain his legacy. The fact that his music is in the public domain, if you've ever played like a keyboard at the music store and they've got those preset songs in there, I guarantee you either Oh Susanna, Camptown Races, or Beautiful Dreamer is one of those preset songs. They did an episode of 30 Rock a couple years ago. They had, I think, Beautiful Dreamer. The movie they made a couple years ago, Million Ways to Die in the West, that comedy with Seth MacFarlane, he used a bunch of Stephen Foster songs because it was of the period. And Bugs Bunny, these used to be in the Looney Tunes cartoons all the time, and you hear them and you don't think, you don't necessarily connect the dots, but he wrote over 200 songs in 37 years.
One of the things too is that I think a lot of people don't realize is, and I'm not trying to downgrade anybody else's plays at schools or anything else, but these are professional actors that are at these shows. And these are actors that have trained, come from all over the world, and even though we have some local people in it, that doesn't make them less professional. This is a very professional group.
It's true. One of the comments I hear so often now, being up in the office, I get to come watch the show and talk to the folks afterwards, and they'll say, I can't believe the production value or the quality. I'm like, well, what do you think we're producing out here? We're not just producing some chintzy play or anything, but that's why it's been around for 58 years, because we've got these people from all over the country, all over the world from different times. We've got a cast of about, with the kids included, close to 50. And, half of them are from the Kentucky area, not even just Bardstown. You're talking Louisville or Lexington or Elizabethtown, things like that. But the other half are a lot of these college kids who that's what they're going to school for, is to train and then to go on. I was talking to one of the newer cast members the other day, and off the top of my head, I can name 4 of our alumni who are currently on Broadway in New York.
That's what I was going to ask you. Several of them went on to even bigger and better things after they left here.
Absolutely. We've got one gentleman who played Stephen Foster for a couple of years in 2012 and 13. He's in Phantom of the Opera right now. A girl who I went to school with at Western Kentucky University, she was in Greece back in 2005, and she just opened the first ever Cirque du Soleil Broadway show called Paramore. There's a couple other people doing some things, and there's a gentleman by the name of Chris Wood who played Stephen Foster my first year in 2009. He's done a couple series on the CW network. He did The Vampire Diaries, did Carrie Diaries. He just did, it's Contagion, I think is the name of the show now, or the series. So, all these people who have worked here and gone on to do these bigger and better things, I think there's something in the water in Bardstown.
Well, we know what's in the water in Bardstown. Well, that's another show. But you mentioned Greece. And I know that's one of the things that attracts professionals to come here is it's not just the Stephen Foster story. You generally have a second show of equal or higher caliber sometime, and that also attracts them. They get the variety of being able to perform. Now, what's going on this year?
We've got The Wizard of Oz coming back to the J. Dan Talbot Amphitheatre, and I'm very excited about it. I heard such great things from when they did it back in 2011. It's been the 5 years now. We did 10 performances back then. I think 7 or 8 sold out.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those shows. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're 6 years old or 75 years old, you enjoy the Wizard of Oz.
Tornado. It was a great tornado.
I wasn't here that year, and so I never got to see it. Everyone was raving about it, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. I'm actually going to be in the show this year. It's going to be my first time on stage in a couple of years.
Not a munchkin.
No, not a munchkin. Just a little too tall. I think a couple inches too tall for that one. But it's great. Not only for the cast members who are coming in, to build up their resume with the Stephen Foster story and whatever the second show happens to be. It's for our regional audience too. Some of these folks, if you haven't seen the Stephen Foster story, definitely come on out. But it's for the folks who have seen the show. They maybe go once a year, once every other year. Yeah. We like to give them some variety and bring some shows in that they may not otherwise have a chance to see.
Okay, so Wizard of Oz will be on what particular nights that is?
It begins this year on Thursday, July 7th, and runs Thursday and Saturday nights through August the 6th. We've got 10 performances, begins at 8 p.m.
Okay, and then you also got some concerts.
We do, and we've got this kind of 3-tiered system here. We can offer you the Stephen Foster story, our second show, and then we've got our concerts, if nothing else, for you. But that's one of my most favorite parts of working here, is to bring in these guys, whether they're the tribute bands or whether they're up-and-coming country artists. They're always high quality. Nothing we do at the Stephen Foster Amphitheatre over at my old Kentucky home, we have a level of quality that we have to do. And, there are a million tribute bands out there. Absolutely. With names like the Dixie Chicks and Keith Urban, who have come in the last 20 years, we've got
Earl Haggard.
Oh, I know. It's been fun. The first year I was there, I think they had like an ABBA tribute band, and I was like, and they were great. It's so cool. But, they had the band Perry back in 2013 and Hunter Hayes for that one, I think the year prior. So it's been great. This year we're going to start off with one of the premier Elton John tributes. A little different from what we've done in the past, but his name is Captain Fantastic. He's got a pretty cool promo video. He performed at Disney World several times down in Florida, and he sounds amazing. He's kind of fun and funny. I mean, if you know Elton John, it's going to be a hoot.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be on June 20th this year. One of the concerts I'm most excited about is Brothers Osborne. They're an up-and-coming country duo. They're actually from Baltimore, but they live down in Nashville. They're going to be on Monday, July 18th. They've got Stay a Little Longer is their biggest hits, got over 7 million hits on YouTube. Rum is another big one, and then 21 Summer is their release for this summer here. One tradition, we've got the Stephen Foster story as a tradition, but we started a couple years ago is having the Monarchs. Everyone loves the Monarchs. They're another one of those groups, like the Wizard of Oz is one of those shows. Right. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. The Monarchs too. You can go and enjoy a night, and even if you don't know what they do or what they play, they're coming on Monday, August 1st. And then another group that the year I came back, Jumping Jack Flash, tribute to the Rolling Stones. They're coming back it's going to be Friday, August 26th. And then we close it out with a new group to us called Rumors. They're a tribute to Fleetwood Mac. So got a little something for everybody, some Fleetwood Mac, some Stones. You got the country with Brothers Osborne, and then you've got Captain Fantastic with Elton John.
Oh, well, you never know you're going to meet. I've met in person Peter Noon of Herman's Hermits, Davy Jones of the Monkees.
Oh, yeah.
And all those people. I can't afford to travel across the world, so I let them come to me.
Exactly. And where else can you get a ticket for $20 and sit 20 yards from the performers? It's pretty crazy.
Exactly. No question about that. So great shows, and again, I know you're excited about it. Somebody wants to know a little bit more about what website, telephone number, what they need to do.
Absolutely. Best place to do is go to www.stephenfoster.com. We've got everything on there from concerts, schedules, events. You can give us a call, 348-5971 here locally. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, all that good stuff. Best place to start at the website and then branch out from there. You can figure it all out. And one thing I wanted to say, I think a lot of folks, especially if they've never seen the Stephen Foster story, one thing we try to do is branch out to the community. And, we've done this for a couple of years, but I'm trying to tell everybody I can. If you're a Nelson County resident, you can see the Stephen Foster story with a Nelson County discount any day of the summer. And that's different this year. Before, you couldn't do that on opening night. We're changing up our opening night in the Stephen Foster Festival a little bit, which is on June the 11th this year. But you can use that discount, Nelson County resident discount, on opening night, on our July 4th celebration, which is actually July 2nd this year, since July 4th is on a Monday. So it's Saturday, July 2nd. But it's just $12 for adults and $6 for children. You talk about a $20 ticket. Try going to the movies for a $12 ticket and then getting the popcorn on top of that. You know, you can't take a family out anymore.
Now, if you're doing something cheaper than that in Nelson County, you're doing something illegal.
Exactly.
So again, Billy, appreciate you being here again.
Absolutely.
You know, the Stephen Foster story at the J. Den Talbot Amphitheatre. And if anybody doesn't know exactly, most people knows where it's at, but it's right there at the corner where Springfield Road and Bloomfield Road come together, 150 and 62, right outside of Bardstown. You can't miss it. And I've got signs up down there, but again, StephenFoster.com will be able to tell you everything, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, Billy Bass here with the Stephen Foster story, and we appreciate you tuning in, and hope to see you down there this year. Be a great year, and hopefully the weather will be great.
Knock on wood.
There you go. We'll be back right after these messages with more community focus right here on Channel 6 TV. Right back.